You all know about the three pigs and the big bad wolf, right? It's a very familiar story. I'm not going to tell you that one. But when Big Bad Wolf got cooked, his cousin, Big Stupid Wolf, vowed to get revenge. It was all he thought about day and night, how he was going to get back at these pigs. Now, he was not going to make the same mistake that his cousin, the unfortunate Big Bad, made. He was not going to go down the chimney and end up in the cooking pot. He was going to think of a way to get the pigs to let him right in their door. So he thought and he thought and he thought. Well, thinking did not come easily to Big Stupid. This was a very slow process. For months, he thought about how he should do this. And one September afternoon, when he was deep in thought, his doorbell rang. And when he opened the door, there was a little boy with a baseball cap who said, "Good afternoon, Mr. Wolf. My PTA is doing a fundraiser, and I'm wondering if you would like to buy some gift wrap or a calendar." And he said, "Do I look like the type who wants gift wrap or a calendar to you?" And he slammed the door. But then he thought better of it, and he opened the door. The little boy was still standing there. He was completely stunned. He grabbed the cap off the boy's head. He took his fundraising materials, and he said, "Now get out of here before I huff and I puff and I..." Well, he had no idea what he would have said after that, but it didn't matter because the little boy took off down the road, leaving his bicycle behind. So Big Stupid closed the door. He put that cap on his head. "This is perfect," he thought. He started going through the fundraising materials and working on his sales pitch. Well, his mother heard what he was up to. And she said, "Oh, no, Big Stupid. Why do you have to be like this? Don't you remember? Live by the golden rule. The golden rule, haste makes waste." "Not all," said Big Stupid. "Haste makes for an early dinner. And I'm on my way right now to get myself an early wolf special." So, tucking his fundraising materials under his arm, he got on the boy's bicycle and he rode across town to where the three pigs were living. Because they were all in that brick house now, So he went to the door and he rang the bell. And he said, little pigs, let me come in. I'm selling gift wrap and calendars for my school." Well, the three pigs looked out their peephole and they saw a very heavily bearded little boy in a baseball cap, and they knew exactly what was going on. So they said,
Little boy, we don't know you, and you don't know us, and we know they told you not at school, not to sell to people you don't know. You never know what could happen to you. Now run along home."
Big Stupid slunk home. He was not counting on those pigs being so smart. But when he got home, he looked at the calendar that he had. It was the last day of September, so he flipped the page. There, the end of October. There was the perfect time to get in the pig's house, right? All he'd need was a costume. So he started to think again. It's a good thing he had a whole month. thinking. Finally, at the very last minute, he had an idea. He went to his bed, and he pulled off the sheet, and he cut 2 holes in it. Genius, right? He put it over his head. And then he took his pillowcase, and his mother saw him. And she said, "Oh, no, Big Stupid, not again. Come on, don't you remember? The golden rule, a bird in the hand is worth 2 in the bush." "No," said Big Stupid. "A pig in the belly is worth 2 in the pen, and I'm going to go over there now, play a trick, and get myself a big porky treat." And so he headed out in his costume toward the pig's house. Well, on the way, he decided that he should ring some doorbells and get some candy like everybody else. He was stupid, but he was not that stupid. So he rang doorbells and he said, "Trick or treat," and he got candy, and pretty soon he had this heavy sack he was dragging around, and by the time he got to the pig's house, he was hot, he was panting, and it was then that the flaw in this costume became obvious, because he had cut these 2 holes for his eyes, but he didn't cut one for his nose. He was panting, he was drooling. The entire front of this sheet was soaked and clinging to his snout. So when he rang the doorbell and he said, little pigs, trick or treat," they looked out the pig people and they knew exactly who that was under that sheet. And they said, "Sorry, we're out of candy," and they flipped off the light. He said, "I knew I should have come here earlier." And so he dragged himself home. Well, being the last day of October, it was time to flip the calendar again, and 2 weeks later, there it was, the perfect opportunity to get in the pig's house. This was great. So on the morning of November 11th, he put on a white coat and slung a stethoscope around his neck, and he went in his mother's closet and he found her big black leather bag and he headed for the door. And his mother said, "Oh, no, Big Stupid, come on, will you just be nice? Remember, the golden rule, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink." Said Big Stupid, you can lead a pig to a brick house, but you can't make them safe. And I'm on my way right now. We give those pigs a taste of their own medicine. So he went over to the pig's house, and he knocked on the door. Little pigs, let me come in. I'm here to do your free well piggies checkups. Happy Veterinarians Day!
It's Veterans Day, you big stupid. We're not opening the door.
Oh, did I read that wrong? I thought he went home, looked at the calendar, and yes, he had read that wrong. But fortunately, only 2 weeks later, there was another chance, and he knew this time the pigs would be too polite not to open the door. So on Thanksgiving morning, he stuck some feathers in his head, and he put on his moccasins, and he took his mother's lipstick, and he made a couple of streaks across his face, and he headed for the door, and his mother said, "Oh no, Big Stupid, not again. Why don't you remember what I've been trying to teach you since you was a little tiny stupid wolf? The golden rule, you know, absence makes the heart grow fonder." "No, said Big Stupid. Pork chops make the wolf grow fatter, and I'm on my way right now to invite the pigs to my feast." So he went to the pig's house, and he knocked on the door, and he called, let all pigs, let them come in." There was no answer. He knocked again, he called louder, let all pigs, let them come in." He knocked and called, and the pigs didn't come to the door. He walked around the house, and he looked in the windows. The pigs weren't home. The pigs were at the soup kitchen feeding Thanksgiving dinners to some very nice people who ordinarily wouldn't have had a good meal that day. Big Stupid had never even heard of the soup kitchen, believe it or not. So he dragged himself home. This calendar only had 1 page left, but when he turned the page, he saw, ha! There it is! I don't have to get in the pig's door. On Christmas Eve, I can go down the chimney. I don't have a fire in the fireplace that night. And so, he realized that all he needed was a suit. So he made himself a red coat and a hat, and he built a catapult that would shoot him up onto the roof of the pig's house. This was great. So he had everything ready, and he started pacing around, waiting for the middle of the night, pacing. Of course, his mother saw him, and she said, "Oh, no, Big Stupid, what is wrong with you? Why can't you remember what I've been trying to teach you all these years? The golden rule, you know, 'tis the season to be jolly." "Not all," said Big Stupid, "'tis the season to be piggy. I'm going to go give those pigs something they was never expected to get for Christmas." And so, tucking his catapult under his arm, he headed toward the pig's house. And oh, this was so exciting. He could see the candles burning in the windows. So he set up the catapult, and he shot himself through the air. It worked so well that he went straight into the chimney, feet first. And as he slid down the chimney, he swore he smelled chicken soup. And then his toes got really warm. And just before his head went in the pot, he realized that the candles in the windows were in a menorah, and the 3 pigs were sitting on the floor playing dreidel. Jewish! You can let that sink in for a second. Well, when the wolf was cooked, they fished him out of the pot, and the next day they were back at the soup kitchen again, feeding minced wolf meat pies to some very nice people who might not have gotten a good Christmas dinner that day, because the 3 pigs know that for Christmas anyway, the golden rule is, it's better to give than it is to receive.